Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This is the 18th of April. We are at the OBEFIT webinar, and our topic is the power of yoga. I can see from the screen that everyone is looking so bright and lovely, but I can't seem to see myself too well, but I imagine that has got to do with my eyes. Last night, when I was trying to correlate our topic with obesity, that is yoga and obesity, I came across an ancient philosophy, an amazing philosophy that stands the test of time. I couldn't find too much about yoga and obesity, but the philosophy is that yoga seeks to achieve natural body health and use the wisdom of the body to improve itself in every way and bring it to its natural weight. Now, this is a unique philosophy, which we don't have in most of our other philosophies, where we are specific about the subject. This is a unique philosophy, very holistic. However, it's not as if yoga is without its methods. As I read it, I'm no expert in the subject, but a little bit of knowledge here and there. Yoga has, to my mind, three outstanding correlations. I don't know whether they intended it, but here it is. The Surya Namaskara. Now, in the Surya Namaskara, a comprehensive series of movements, it concentrates, or it benefits mainly the chakras of the body, which is a unique phraseology in yoga. But if we were to translate it into modern medical science, we would say that it activates the different aspects of the body, the reproductive glands, and then you move up to the kidneys, and then you move up to the liver, and then you move up to the heart and the lungs and the brain and the thyroid. Just one series of movements, not thinking too much about the external, but the internal body systems. And then I came across the Vajrasana. No. I came across the pranayama. That's correct. I came across the pranayama. And then it connected with my technical mind, and it said respiration, metabolism. And I then connected, yes, metabolism has got to do with the reduction of body fat. So there is a modern connection in spite of it being an ancient science. And then I went on to read a wee bit about the asanas. You know, different asanas improve digestion, removes constipation. But you go deeper into it, and it says that the pranayama and the halasana, it says the benefits to comorbidities. It reduces body fat, it manages diabetes, it reduces hypertension, manages cardiac ailments, joint problems, reduces stress, balances the endocrine system, and so on and so forth. Amazing, an amazing ancient correlation. And of course, to show light on this subject is our speaker today, who started yoga, or was introduced to yoga at the age of 6. Now, usually at this point of time, there it is, at this point of time, the profile of the speaker comes up. And I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that nowhere in that profile is it written that this young lady started yoga at the age of 6. That is the information which only a father can have. Ladies and gentlemen, my great honor and privilege to introduce my own daughter, Zarina Rhea Kennedy. I said Reina because that's my granddaughter. Sorry about that. It's Zarina Rhea Kennedy. Now, that's an ancient memory about Zarina starting at 6, but in order to do justice to a profile which is vast, I need to put on my specs and read the rest of it. Zarina is a multifaceted academic professional. As I see it, she has done her MBA, which is business, and then she is a CPD coach, which is mental well-being and the mind. She has done her PPHC, that's preventive and promotive healthcare, and of course, she is a yogacharya. She has worked in more than 15 years, for more than 15 years, in the field of what we would normally say human resources, but Zarina mentions it as human capital enrichment across organizations like Amazon, Clarendon Parker, Schneider Electric, across different destinations, Bahrain, India, the UAE. Talking about the UAE, she is currently an assistant professor in the University of Stirling. Coming back to her main subject, to our main subject, she became a yogacharya at the age of 21 in the Orthodox Bihar School of Yoga under Dr. Praveen Kapadia. Then she went on to do her cognitive behavior therapy, a certification in preventive and promotive health from the prestigious Apollo Hospitals Education Research Foundation. She is a doting mother of 2 children, a mom, a wife, a sister, a friend, and a daughter. And here's another little bit of information which I'm going to give you, which is not on her profile. Zarina has been accepted by the Harvard Medical School only a week back to do her postgrad studies in lifestyle medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't help talking so much about my daughter, but I have received several prompts telling me, Professor, hand over. So, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Zarina Rhea Kennedy.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone can see me and hear me. The problem with being introduced by your father is there's very little left to say. And the other problem is I'm not sure what I'm going to add after that introduction, but I'm going to do my very best. Um, Hygiene checks, I'm visible, I'm audible.
Yes.
I'm now going to share my screen. Give me just a moment. Great. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay.
You need to make
Thank
full
you so
screen.
much. Is it not full screen?
No, not as yet.
Put it in the slideshow.
I put it in slideshow. I did do that.
It's on slideshow. You need to put it on to full screen.
Okay. Tech help is arriving. One moment.
Yes, you're on full screen.
This is what I thought as well. Is this full screen now?
Yes.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Thank you very, very much. First of all, thank you very much to Arabian Wellness for having me. Yoga is one of the most personal and one of my favorite topics to discuss. As you've heard, my relationship with yoga goes back, well, I'm 41 now, so about 35 years. Um, and it's something that's held me in good stead through all of my life. There are times when I will become very personal because, like I've said, this is a very, very personal topic to me. It's just an intricate part of everything that I do. So I'll introduce the topic first. In this talk, we're going to cover Ashtanga Yoga, or the eight limbs of yoga. And this is the main focus of study from the Bihar School of Yoga. You know, over years, yoga has become so commercial. You have hot yoga, cold yoga, dance yoga, all sorts of yoga. And I mean, even I can't keep up anymore. When I say, oh, I do yoga, people are like, "Which yoga?" And the fact is, to my mind, there is only the one pure form of yoga, which is incorporating your entire body, mind, breath, soul into each session that you do. So first, we will be talking about Ashtanga Yoga, or the traditional form of yoga. I will then, towards slide 6, move into understanding the holistic approach. So when I say body, mind, and soul, we will go into the deeper aspects of body, the deeper aspects of mind, and the deeper aspects of soul. And then we will end with how you can design a complete session for yourself. So we will have the slides here already. It is already in the slide. And I will go over each asana and what we will be covering. I hope to cover this in 35 minutes. So let me set my timer now so I know what's going on. All right. Thank you very much for having me. Let's proceed. First, let's talk about what yoga is not. So every time I say to people yoga, they're like, oh, I can't do that. I'm not flexible. First things, yoga is not about pushing the limits of your body. Yes, of course, the positions, everyone is going to advertise positions that are eye-catching, that look really difficult. Yoga is every single thing you do. If you're walking, it's yoga. If you're sitting, it's yoga. If you're standing, it's yoga. If you're sleeping, it's yoga. Yoga is a state of mind. The second thing I hear is, I can't do yoga because I can't be vegetarian. You will never find someone less vegetarian than me. I am absolutely not vegetarian. In fact, even for Lent, I could not give up meat. So yoga is not about being vegetarian. Yoga is not about abstinence. It's not, you don't partake in life, or you don't partake in joy and you just find some Zen place. Yoga is not about that. Yoga is actually about enjoying life and finding a zeal for life. And we will cover that in the coming up slides. The other thing I hear very often is yoga is boring. Yoga is not boring. Yoga is individualized. So if you like to do faster, dynamic positions, that's yoga for you. If you like more sedentary, or if you feel like you need to practice your breathing and you need to be calm, yoga will give you what you need. It's not boring. And most importantly, I have heard this, I'm too fat to do yoga, or fat people can't do yoga. And that's simply not true. Yoga is for everybody. It's not for thin people. It's for everybody. Since we're talking about thin, let's try and focus away from thin, actually, and talk about being healthy. So you'll see in my slide, when you look at ancient art, or when you find ancient sculptures and statues, they always seem to depict curvaceous bodies, right? Whether it's men or women, because that was the reality of the time. But in the 1920s and around 1980s, there was this focus on being, like stick thin. And both those times in history have been related with some of the highest numbers of eating disorders. So it's really important to me, as the mother of two young girls, to not focus on being thin. And I know that's a controversial thing to say, at the biggest weight loser challenge. But it's to not focus on being thin. Instead, focus on being balanced. Instead, focus on being healthy, strong. There's so many other aspects to a person, to a body than thin. Thin is cosmetic. It's really important for you to find your balance. It's also unfortunate for most of us that some people have a metabolism that allows them to be very thin. There are people that can just eat what they want and drink what they want, and they seem to remain thin, and that's their metabolism. But what yoga really helps you to do is to understand your metabolism and to start working within that. So please, the focus of my talk, yes, it's weight loss. Yes, it is. And we will discuss that. But my focus is to be healthy and balanced, strong, flexible. So, what is yoga? Yoga is a state of mind. Yoga is a state of awareness. Yoga is stillness. Yoga, as the word yog means union, it means to join. You extrapolate that, it means to join with oneself, mentally, physically, spiritually, so that you are then whole and connected to the universal being, to the universal energy. I'm careful to not be any sort of religious here. I am a practicing Catholic, of course, but it's got nothing to do with a divine being that belongs to any religion. Yoga has no religion. Yoga is, of course, about asanas, and asanas don't mean positions, it just means posture. So, what it actually translates into situation. So, asanas, and of course, the holistic approach. Yoga is a very holistic experience. Unlike other forms of exercise, and obviously it's clear I love yoga, unlike other forms of exercise that focus on strength or they focus on cardio, yoga focuses body, mind, and soul. Before we get into this slide, I want to tell you, like I said, a personal story. Since we're talking about weight loss, and I said this is not about weight loss. So when I was pregnant with with my daughter, I was 30 years old, 31 actually, and I gained 20 kgs, more than that, I think. Now, first question is, if you do yoga, how did you gain 20 kgs? So there is a theory that children understand and feel things from within their mother's womb, that conscience and consciousness starts within the mother's womb. And so when I was pregnant, I ate whatever I felt like. I wanted my children to have a sense of abundance and a sense of joy and a sense of fulfillment. So gladly, not by mistake, gladly, I gained that weight. And I have to tell you, hand on my heart, all honesty, I lost all of that weight. Two things: yoga, diet, and walking. So if I can do it, you can do it. And I'll tell you how further on. So there are 8 limbs, like I said, we're studying Ashtanga Yoga. We're talking about Ashtanga Yoga. There are 8 limbs to yoga. Starting with the very first thing, I'll point it out to you, yama here, right? Which is restraint. And I'd like you to focus on 3 things here. The first thing is truth. Here we have it. Truth, Satya, truth telling. It's very important for a person's soul to be honest with yourself and with others. It is not natural for humans to lie. So when you lie, that stays in your conscience. So be true to yourself, and it must follow as the night, the day. You can't be false with any man. That's what my grandfather used to say. The second thing I'd like to talk about is moderation. So truth, moderation, and non attachment. When I say non attachment as a mother, it's impossible for me to not be attached. I am physically, mentally attached to my children. But what this means is to rid yourself of trying to control everything. Because these are the things, it starts with your mind. These are the things that put pressure on you. And I will talk a little more about stress and stress syndrome. So, first things first, the very first practice is honesty, moderation, and a little bit of detachment from the sense of control. The second thing we're talking about over here is observances. And here it's just about learning to be clean, learning to find contentment, and look at this, tapas, a zeal for life. Because often people talk about yogic practice as, being detached and being away from things. No, it's about finding the right zeal for life, finding what makes you happy and pursuing those. Stop trying to make everyone else around you happy. The third thing I want to talk about is asanas and postures. The idea of asanas is to prepare your body, to make your body healthy. Like I said earlier, walking is yoga, talking is yoga, sitting is yoga. Anything that you do with your body is an asana. And what you need to remember is whatever you are doing, your correct posture is the first key to any asana that you would even imagine doing. I remember when I was being trained, and here's where I get personal. When I was being trained, Mr. Bhattacharya, my teacher at the time, he would tell me, I don't care what the last position looks like. I care how you get from sitting to standing to the first. Most yoga asanas, sorry, most yoga asanas come in 3 or 4 steps. So the first step, the transition between the first step to the second position to the third position and your final position. It's like a dance. It's like ballet. It's not about just landing in the position. It's starting the position, transitioning to the next position, ending in a position, holding, whilst focusing on your breath, what your body is doing, where you feel the pressure. So, asanas are absolutely everything you do, and it starts with posture. Then I want to talk about pranayama. I'm not going to go over all of these. I want to talk about pranayama. Pranayama is the art of breath or breathing, prana, life. So, life force, breathing. So, there was a theory, and I haven't studied it enough, so I can't say yes or no. But there was a theory when I was becoming a yogacharya, I was told that you're born with the number of breaths you're going to breathe. And the idea of yoga is to make sure that those breaths are good. So that's one theory. But what I think pranayama is being able to give the right amount of oxygen to your body, one, for energy, two, learning to breathe in, stay calm, control your mind. Because once your mind is under control, your body is under control. Then we have dharana, concentration, the ability to concentrate. And lastly, which is number 8, is samadhi, which is the oneness with all things, with all living things. So we start from the bottom and we end with a sense of oneness or being ready to feel a sense of oneness with the rest of the universe. That was heavy. So here are some fun facts. Some fun facts about yoga. So there are about, I can't even read this number, 84,000,000 asanas that a person, we've studied that a person goes through from birth unto death. Of these, there are 84 asanas that are the most useful, and most yoga sessions will have about 8 asanas in them. The asanas will you put pressure on the stomach to contract it. The next asana will usually extend your stomach so that you balance your muscles. Most asanas are named after animals. If this was an interactive session, I would ask you to name some. They're named after us, after animals and things that we see in nature: bridges, trees, cats, dogs, snake. And yogic asanas have been thought of a form of exercise, but the actual fact of yoga is you put yourself into positions that help you to balance and concentrate. So, what does yoga do? When I say holistic, what does yoga do? It focuses on your muscle, so strength, flexibility. It focuses on your skeleton, maintaining joint flexibility, maintaining strong bones. We do that by putting our own body weight, like on your wrist, for example. How do you strengthen your wrist muscle? When you do Bhujangasana, the upper body weight is on your joints and it helps you to make your joints stronger. Of course, with your rotations and all of that, with the saralasanas, as they're called, that helps you to keep flexibility of your joints. Like I said earlier, organs, each yoga is known as the internal massage of organs. So each asana focuses on a particular organ. Now, most organs, of course, are within the top part of your body. So most asanas will focus pressure within the upper half. And the ones that are in the lower half, of course, have the joint flexibility and strength. Endocrine. In the next slide, I will have much more detail on this. And lastly, chakras. Chakras are the energy centers of your body. Moving on to the next slide, so we have clarity on this one. One of my favorite things to discuss, yoga and chakras. If you have a look at this slide, interestingly, you will see that each chakra, so you have your crown chakra, has a correlating gland or organ. I can't go into all of them, but if you have a look at this slide, you will see that the crown chakra, which is concerned with divinity, your access to the divine, your faith, your access to the universe, is controlled by the pituitary. It's in the same region as your pituitary gland, which controls all other glands. Similarly, and I say this specifically with weight loss in mind, your throat chakra has your thyroid gland, which controls your metabolism. The throat chakra is a very interesting chakra because not only does it control what goes down or your cravings for what you would like to eat, it also controls what comes up. So your throat chakra is responsible for what you say and what you don't say. Interestingly, I don't have all of the evidence yet, but interestingly, stress eating is one of the biggest reasons for weight gain. When you're stressed, when you want to say something, but you don't, or you can't, it's only human, like a child. We are just grown up children, like a child to ingest, to swallow. So the throat chakra is actually related to weight gain, smoking, alcohol consumption, none of which is good for weight loss. So you see a lot of yoga asanas, especially if you're trying to lose weight, to focus on this region, on the throat and the thyroid. Similarly, the heart chakra, and that's the thymus gland, which regulates your immune system. And lastly, we'll talk about the sacral gland, your adrenal glands. Now, sacral gland is where your responses come from. Here, I would like to talk to you about something, and it's called the fight and flight response. You hear all the time, stress is very bad, stress is very bad. But have we tried to really understand what happens? What is stress? Stress is one of the oldest things. It's actually what keeps us alive. It's what keeps us safe. Pardon me. It's what keeps us safe. So when we were fighting against lions and snakes and fighting the weather before we were as comfortable as we are, our stressors were real. There's a lion chasing you, or there's a snake. And what happens is your body releases stress hormones, which adrenaline, cortisol. And what cortisol does, which is your fight response, what cortisol does is it encourages your liver, it triggers your liver to release. I want to get the word right. Hang on a second. I don't want to get the wrong hormone here. Glucose from your liver. And this sugar is, if you are actually threatened, this sugar is what helps you to run, be strong, fight, send your, the blood rushing to your extremities. What happens now is we don't have these real stressors. We don't actually have to run, but the response of your body is the same. So whether your stress is meeting deadlines, whether your stress is work, whether your stress is your marriage, your body's response to that is the same. It forces your liver to release glucose into your body. What are we going to do with all this sugar floating around in our body? Do we actually consume it in our sedentary lifestyles? No. So, this is how stress adds to weight gain. Plus, add to that wanting to ingest when you're stress eating, and you have a very difficult situation. So, I'll go back to the previous slide actually. So, what are we trying to understand here? How does yoga help you to lose weight? If you listen to aerobics, if you listen to most weight loss theories, they will tell you calories in, calories out. Calorie deficit, which means you lose weight. And that's absolutely correct. You will not hear me say that's not correct. But what yoga does is it works on your mind, clarity, calm. It works on your mind to force your metabolism to be more efficient. If this, I would argue that this is where you begin to lose weight between the ears, your brain. This is where yoga focuses. And it focuses on this through a series of postures, through Surya Namaskar, through presence, through concentration, through breathing, through all of this. It focuses here. So when you start being balanced here, what happens in the mind happens in the body. What happens in the body happens in the mind. So when you find the balance between these two, supposing you can't relax your mind, you start making your body healthy. And then your mind will emanate the same thing. And if you can't focus on your body first, then you focus on your mind. And that will then emanate through the rest of your body. This in is the crux of yogic theory and practice. And like I've said, it's helped me twice. I was pregnant twice. Both times happily gained weight, both times happily lost weight. Maybe 5 or 6 kgs plus now, but mostly lost all of that weight. Asanas for weight loss. I'm going to make sure I'm on time. Okay, I have 14 minutes more, and then we'll open for questions. Asanas for weight loss. Now, like I've said, there is no one specific asana for weight loss because yogic practice is balancing the entire body. Yoga is not exclusive. So if you are doing yoga, like I said, doesn't mean you can't do another form of exercise as well. Everything you do helps your body. So if you want to go for a walk, run, you want to do weights, you want to do all of that, that's absolutely fine. Yoga is best done 2 hours after light meal or before you've eaten, first thing in the morning, but after you have gone to the toilet because you want your body to be clean and you need to have had some water to be able to do an effective present yoga session. And of course, balanced diet, which is quite difficult. I know I cook for a family of 9. It's difficult to have a balanced diet, but carb, nutrition, fiber, minerals, vitamins, the protein, very important. So, what are the asanas that we will talk about? I said we will design a session for yourself. No one specific asana, but here are a series of asanas, and I'm happy to take questions about them later. First, we have the Ardhalasana. And if you look at this, you can see that it sends blood rushing down to your mind, which is very important. It helps you to increase flexibility in your legs, and it helps you to strengthen, very importantly, strengthen your core. And your core is absolutely essential to your overall strength and posture. Also, when you put your legs up like this, it helps you in case you have a hunched back or your shoulders, if you have a tendency to lean forward like this, it helps you to straighten that as well. From here, we move on to the next phase of the same asana. This is the end position. The next phase is the shoulder stand. And again, you can see that this helps you to strengthen your shoulders, increase flexibility in your back, helps your nervous system because you're now returning fluids and draining out your fluids. And the last position is the halasana, which is the plow pose. And that again increases flexibility in your back because, as I've said, posture is everything. And increases flexibility in your legs, hips, shoulders, neck, head. And last, I don't know if you can see this position here, is the fish pose, which helps to expand the chest region, helps you to breathe better. It's good for your thyroid, good for your lungs, good for your chest, good for your posture. Again, if you tend to slouch forward, especially all of us who slouch forward all day, I'm blessed to be teaching, but most of my colleagues are very heavily into research and I see them slouched over like this all the time. Very good position for that. Bhujangasana, which is good for your back. You see the pressure here on reproduction organs, good for your groin area, good for your chest and abdomen, opens up the chest, puts this pressure on the small of your back, and you will see, again, I will repeat, you will see Chakrasana after this, which will then put opposite pressure on your back and your tummy. Salavasana helps to strengthen your buttocks region, helps to strengthen your abs, helps to strengthen this, open up your chin because you can see your chin is flat on the ground here. Dhanurasana, which helps your spine, abdomen, and chest. And just a moment. Naukasana, which is the opposite of this, of Salavasana, which helps to again strengthen your core. And most important, it's not written over here. What's really important about Naukasana is balance. It teaches you balance because to be able to hold that position, you need to focus on your toes and focus your mind, and it helps mental balance. Vakrasana is good for your spine. Paschimottanasana, good to close your abdominal area, helps with flexibility. No yoga session is complete without breathing. Anulom Vilom is the most common pranayama that we use. Breathe in through one nostril, breathe out through the other, and then breathe in from the one you breathed out from and out from the other. This helps to clear the nasal passage, helps to fill your lungs with air, helps to make sure both sides are working properly, helps to clear out your chest, helps you to be calm. And lastly, of course, you never, ever, ever leave a yoga session tired or breathless. If that's how you leave a yoga session, then that's not the kind of yoga I've practiced. It might be what works for you, but it's not the kind of yoga I have practiced. Before you leave a yoga session, you relax and bring your body back down to a relaxed state. So you're not hyper. You allow those endorphins to go through your body, feel the lightness of what you've done and the goodness that you've done to your body. And that gives you a feeling of contentment. You never want to eat a cheeseburger after a yoga session. Never. My favorite of all things and my secret to success, Surya Namaskar, also known as the sun salutation. Interesting fact, Surya Namaskar burns about 20 calories per round that you do. So each position is here, and then you go from standing to toe touch, and then back again to a standing position. All right, that's my that's my talk. And I think I have 10 minutes left for any questions anybody might have. Dr. Wilco, you're on
Hey,
mute.
it's me. I was completely mesmerized by some of the things I heard, and I forgot to put my video on. So now I put my video on, and it is my joyful pleasure to say thank you. But I have two observations. experiential is one. Zarina mentioned that on 2 occasions in her brief lifetime, she has gained 20 kgs approximately during this period when she was having her two beautiful children and my gorgeous grandchildren. She also mentions that yoga was a method that she used to lose that weight. And I can tell you this, she certainly has lost that weight. And I do know that she does yoga ever so frequently, almost on a daily basis. So that is experiential. To be able to actually do something and not just talk about the theory of that concept. But what fascinated me was the explanation that I got about something that intrigued me last night, and that is the relationship between chakras and body organs. It is fascinating how the various chakras, the crown chakra connects with the brain. I'm looking at this because I don't know this too well. The pineal gland is taken care of by the third eye, and the throat manages the thyroid. The heart chakra manages the heart and lungs, and the solar plexus manages the pancreas. The sacral manages the kidneys, and the root reproductive organs. And together, if you put these things into good health, then that takes care of obesity and other ailments like hypertension, diabetes, and so on and so forth. I end my thank you by simply saying, I have read somewhere that the child is the parent of man. I think I should also say that the child is the teacher to the parent. And therefore, Zarina, from Professor Kennedy to Assistant Professor Zarina Kennedy, thank you for this great knowledge. Thank you so much. I have learned something today. Thank you. Dr. Wilku, sir, I'm sure you have many questions.
Yes, sir. Uh, Thank you very much, Zarina, for a wonderful presentation, especially a topic which is little bit, what you can say, many people are not confident on that, and that's the reason I'm seeing the questions as well. Neetu has asked, we know regular exercise is good for reducing weight. And is yoga that effective? You have already told about your own experience, but still, there is always a dilemma regarding this passive exercises. So, your call, ma'am.
Happy to answer that question. So if I've understood, the question is yoga that effective? My answer obviously is I think yoga is the most effective because there are many things that lead to weight gain. Bad eating habits, stress eating. So, when you're able to control your stress and you're able to control your cravings for certain types of food, when you can get your body to metabolize and you stop craving sugar and you stop craving oily food, then that just that one aspect, controlling your mind and being happy and content and satisfied in your mind, helps one thing directly related to weight gain, bad eating habits. Then, when you're able to metabolize your calories properly, when your body is in a state of happiness and joy, and you're not dealing with the fight and flight syndrome, and you don't have all that glucose running into your vein, into your blood, again, you metabolize much more effectively. And of course, lastly, most really lastly, it works on your muscles. The stronger your muscles, the more calories you use, the healthier you are, the less you tend to put on weight, the more effectively you can then do other forms of cardio exercises. Breathing, again, helps you to increase your capability of doing cardio exercises. Most people think running is a wonderful thing. How many people actually are able to breathe effectively enough to be able to get your heart into a training zone of 180 and above, 160 and above? How many people can actually do that? So, in a lot of ways, yoga helps whatever exercise you choose to do, whatever form, whether it's aerobic, cardio, whatever you want to do. Yoga is only going to help you to be able to do that better. And so, therefore, I think it's an essential part of absolutely any weight loss program that you can have.
Yeah, that was a wonderful answer. Really, comparison with doing any cardio, stamina, running, and that intensive exercise, and you are not able to breathe properly, and your heart rate goes on that. And this is very easiest way to do. That was a wonderful explanation. Next question, Himanshu has asked. Last session we learned about the layers of fat. I am obese with big belly. Will yoga exercise help me to reduce my belly? What are the yogas I should do? Just I think last few slides you were talking about some asanas. I think this will be the best explanation on that.
I'm actually very happy to talk about belly fat. Very, very happy to talk about belly fat. There is a direct correlation between cortisol, sugar, and belly fat. So when you see someone with especially obesity around the central area, the center of your core, I immediately see stress. So my first answer to Himanshu would be, let's start focusing here. When this starts to balance, then of course there are all of these asanas. I can't go back to them, but you'll have them, you'll have access to them on this webinar. You focus on strengthening your core, stronger muscles. And this region is the most important thing for you to strengthen, along with your legs, of course. But the Nokasana is a very good, I talked about it, the boat position. Because what it does is, in trying to balance in this position, you're really focusing on strengthening your core. Because it's one thing to get into a position, or when you're doing sit-ups, right, which is the Western philosophy. And again, I'm not saying bad things about Western exercises. Sorry, that's my timer. I'm not saying bad things about Western exercises, but you use so much, you don't use as much strength because you're using, you're going dynamic. So a lot of that is just moving. You're not engaging your core to hold a position, right? This way you hold a position, which takes a lot more strength. Or if you look at the bridge position in yoga, where you have to hold your body, in that holding, you are engaging all of your muscles, not doing push ups. Push ups, yes, of course, you're engaging them, but when you hold a position, you engage a lot more muscles and it builds a lot more strength. So, first things first, Himanshu, like I've said, the minute I see belly fat, I see stress. It's either stress or bad eating habits, and the correlation between stress and bad eating habits is very, very strong, um, scientifically proven. So, first things first, yoga to reduce stress. Secondly, there are asanas which are already here. I've mentioned two, but asanas that strengthen your tummy muscles.
Yeah, that was really a good explanation. That's the reason I took the last question before that. Second question was asked by Sarpraj. And see, in the first question, I also said people are having dilemma about the effect of the yoga. So his question is, I read yoga is good for overall health, but I feel yoga gives slow result. What is your take? And that's the reason I asked the third question before this, because this will give you give Sarfraj a motivation. How yoga gives a good result. Your take, ma'am.
Yoga gives a slow result. My first question is, what's the hurry? What is this life? We're full of care. There is no time to stand and stare. What's the hurry? And secondly, slow is sustainable. You will have diets that will help you to lose weight, and you can starve yourself. And I guarantee you that by the time you can go to the gym 5 times a day, and or you can go to the gym every day, and within a month you've got this chiseled body, and within 3 months you're back to sitting on your couch and eating potato chips. So yes, I can't disagree. Yoga might be slow. For me, it was good, but it's sustainable. And we live in a generation where everything is on our fingertips. I want a dress, I buy it on Amazon. I want to eat Chinese food, I order it on Talabat. I wanted to watch a movie, it's on Netflix. We seem to live a life where we think waiting is a bad thing. And I think waiting is important. I think sustainability is important. I think learning to do yoga while you're sitting, maintaining your posture and having that presence of mind in the moment that you're in is important. So my answer is maybe it's slow, but it's sustainable.
Yeah, that was a tagline. It gives you a sustainable weight loss and helps you to maintain it. Yeah. Another question or another query Tanusha has asked. Uh, is there any YouTube channel of yoga for people, those who are beginners? Because many people do on virtual training, like following a YouTube and other things. Something like friendly, beginners friendly asanas, pranayams, and sun salutation. Sun salutation you have already told. Some of the pranayams you have already mentioned. So now anything which a beginner can follow following a YouTube yoga exercises.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for me to answer this question because I am not a believer in following a YouTube channel. I am not a believer in group yoga. I'm sorry, I'm very traditional. I woke up every day at 5 o'clock in the morning and did yoga with my master who's taught me everything I needed to know. And then there was Mrs. Adhikari. I have benefited so much from the personal experience and the personal teaching of yoga that I'm sorry, I'm not in a position to comment on doing yoga through YouTube or some course on Udemy or anything like that. Please take it seriously enough to actually go to someone who knows what they're doing. You don't want to do yoga on a YouTube channel because you don't want to hurt your muscles. You'll stretch yourself wrong. You'll end up hurting yourself, and then you'll blame yoga. But the fact is, it's because you didn't do it properly. So it's very important, at least as long as you're learning, at least for the first 3 or 4 months or even a year, to go to a proper teacher who will teach you. And there is so many, and they're not even expensive. So, go to someone who will teach you, learn the things you need to learn, and then practice. And when you're ready for the next level, go to a next level teacher, learn that, and then practice. And when you're ready for the third level or the last level, go to a teacher, learn that, and then practice, because doing it right is the most important thing. Like I said, that's what I was told. I don't care the end position. I care how you sit, how you stand, how you transition between positions. And I don't think I've ever pulled a muscle doing yoga because I learned it properly.
True. And likewise, Suzanne has also shared her experience and what she is saying. She has been following yoga since February and she is more relaxed now, but not of much weight loss. That's what we were talking about. Yoga will definitely help you for maintaining your lost weight and sustainable weight. And the first thing, yoga helps you to manage your stress, and stress are directly related to the hormones. Like you mentioned about the cortisol and having a belly fat, cortisol is the main culprit for that. And that I agree for that. And such fabulous others. Okay. Okay, I think the questions are over, but I have two questions. You mentioned about for one thing that was very good, which I was just mentioning about cortisol, and second thing you spoke about being fresh, getting your daily routine, and then going for a yoga. So my question is there any specific time to do a yoga and to get a best result out of it?
So anytime you do yoga is a good time. Let's face it, it's really it's you can say put your health first, but I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm busy packing tiffins and I'm busy preparing for my day. So I mean, ideally, first thing in the morning, just when you're rested, give yourself a little bit of time to sort of because, as you get older, you wake up slightly stiff. Your muscles are stiff. So give your body enough time. Maybe just do a little bit of saralasanas for some time. Go to the toilet. Very important to clear out your bowels before, make sure you've gone to the toilet. And your bladder and your bowels are clean, because that helps you to be able to put the right amount of pressure on your tummy, which is very essential. So finish all of that. Morning is the best time, also because you wouldn't have eaten a heavy meal. So before breakfast in the morning. But that said, If you happen to have time at 10 o'clock at night, as long as you've eaten not too much by 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night is the best time to do yoga. If you have a lunch break and you're planning to not do it, not have lunch at that time, lunch break is the best time to do yoga. And again, yoga sessions can be tailored to wherever you are. You can do yoga in the office. You can do yoga. You don't even have to have a mat. There are so many types of yoga that you can do just sitting on a chair. So any time that you want to do yoga is the best time.
Yeah, true. Any time is best for any exercise for a healthy weight and good health. My second question is like you mentioned about sun salutation. That was a good thing. Like what we say in routine exercise, do a warm up and then go for any particular exercise what you wish. And sun salutation is also my opinion, I'm talking about my opinion, works like that only to warm up your body before you are ready for any yoga asanas. And second thing, after sun salutation, what you should suggest, if I may ask, let me know three best asanas for belly fat after sun
Okay.
salutation. So what will be your suggestion?
Okay, so sun salutation gets dubbed as the aerobics of yoga, but it's not actually. Even when you're doing sun salutation, you breathe between asanas, make sure that your breath is under control. At no point in a yoga asana, unless you're doing Bhastrika, which is a type of pranayama, at no point are you you're not supposed to get that heart pounding sensation. And the reason for that is because your body associates this heart pounding with a fight response. So the minute you have this, your body says, oh, let's release some sugar into the system. That's the theory. So sun salutation, it has been dubbed as the aerobics of yoga, but it's not. Again, that's done to increase flexibility and strength. If you don't have time to do an entire yoga session, then your sun salutation incorporates most postures that you would ideally do in an entire yoga session. It is not the warm up actually. It's known as an asana. The series of asanas is a part of all yoga sessions. The warm up is your rotations. Those are called saralasanas. So those just help you to open up your neck, open up your, prepare your body in little ways. Sun salutation can be done towards the end of your yoga asana of your yoga session, or it can be done in the middle. You can have it in the middle to sort of prepare yourself for the more serious asanas. So that's the answer on Surya Namaskar. And like I said, 20 calories. It's nice. Nice addition. And your next question was about which asanas are best. Look, I'm going to say it again. Anything that makes you not stressed, first you start up here. The rest, you can strengthen your muscles, but there is no one asana that's going to kill belly fat. There's nothing like that. All you can do is overall strength, work on making your muscles strong. And if you want to use a series of exercises to do it, not just yoga, that's great as well. If you want to accompany that with a walk, that's good. Diet, exercise, different forms of exercise, and yoga. You can strengthen them in Nokasana, you can strengthen it with Halasana, you can strengthen it in Dhanurasana, but there is no one yoga asana that's going to help you with belly fat. That's here.
True, true, true. That's the reason you should follow the expert. I may be expert in other areas, but till now I was having intuition that sun salutation works as a warm up. You cleared my doubt. Thank you very much. And I think that's yeah. Even in my WhatsApp, there are no questions, but okay. She has also asked, Suzanne has also asked the same thing. Okay. From my side, all questions are covered. Thank you very much, Zarina. Professor, over to you.
Friends, I have at home, I have a big library with thousands and thousands of books, which I haven't read over the last 10 years. I'm saying this in the context of a question that was asked to Zarina as to what is a good YouTube channel. I am delighted with my modernity. Now, what I did when the question was asked, since I didn't know the answer, and I was not doing anything, I was listening, I Googled quickly and I came up with top 3 YouTube channels. There is Yoga with Adrian, there is Yoga with Bird, and there is Yoga Bliss. So the simple answer to that question, I imagine, is simply Google good yoga YouTube channels. In my time, we would have read the entire book on yoga to understand that. Now, I liked the answer that Zarina gave, and I'm delighted that she gave that answer. I mean, who am I to even judge this? But I love the answer that she gave when Dr. W asked her, what are the top 3 yogasanas for losing belly fat, or even if you were, to use another word, visceral body fat around the organs and all these other things. And Zarina said very simply that yoga is holistic. It takes care of everything. There is no single solution for anything. It is holistic. And I learned another philosophy from Zarina's talk. When somebody said, yoga is good, but it is slow. And Zarina said, yes, but what's the hurry? Life is long. That is an excellent answer. That is an excellent answer. What's the hurry? You've got your entire life to do yoga. Ma'am, I want to thank you very much. I want to thank you very much for that. I am a proud father. I want to thank you very much for that excellent session. Thank you so much, Dr. W. You've been very kind in inviting Zarina to give this session. Thank you so much. My audience, thank you for coming out week after week to listen to our various webinars. And my back-end team in Arabian Wellness and RAC Hospital, my back-end team, thank you so much for your support. Our next session, which as I notice is on April 25th, we have a surgeon specialist. Now, this is the fascinating thing about our webinars. Last week, we had a webinar on psychology, in which our psychologist said that the psychology of weight loss is so important. The week before that, we had an exercise specialist who spoke about the various aspects of exercise. And prior to that, we had a nutritionist who spoke about nutrition. And prior to that, an endocrinologist. Look at this vast range of profound information. This week, we had yoga. Next week, we are going to have surgery. What a profound range of topics on a single subject. Thank you so much, Dr. Wilku, for putting all of this together. And friends, I will see you again next week. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.